Hi everybody, it's David here. Welcome to Digital Doxology. Today's tutorial, I'm going to be covering two things for you. I'm going to show you two new chords in the key of C to add to the four we did last week. And I'm also going to talk about musical surprises and how to use those in your music to make them more interesting. So let's get started. All right, well, let's just jump right in. Before I do, though, I want to make sure that there's a couple of things that we're ready. Number one, I want to make sure that you have a piano with you in front of your computer so that you can practice also. If you don't have a piano, maybe the next time you can bring one with you. It really helps if you have a keyboard right in front of your computer so you can practice at the same time. And I'm assuming that everybody has a keyboard, but I'm also assuming that everybody's here that wants to learn how to increase their basic music skills. They're just starting out, and I hope that that's the case. If you're an advanced student, you're welcome to join in and kind of watch what I'm doing. Or if you're here to learn music writing and music composition techniques, that's what we're about. So let's get started on those. You're going to want to watch my hands and stuff as I go through those. The first thing, take a look up on your computer screen. Let's start with the four chords that we learned last week, the starting four chords in C major. Let's just play through those right now. We have C major, and watch my hands, and then play along and make the chord along with me. This is C major in what we call root position. And we'll talk about different inversions today also and what that means. Then we're going to go to F major, which is the second chord up there. And then the next chord is the G major. Just kind of get used to playing those chords, maybe playing them as a block or arpeggiating them. That's one way you play it. And then finally, the last chord is A minor. So what I'm going to do right now is just run through those four chords. I'm going to play each chord for 8 beats. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, F major. 5, 6, 7, 8. G major. A minor. And go back to C. All right, so those are the four chords that I showed you last week. Practice those during the week. Practice making those chords just like they are in the chart. This is a good place to pause the video and just practice those. Arpeggiate them. Or play them in a block like this. All right, switch chords. And get used to making those chords and what they feel like under your fingers. Now, I am going to show you two additional chords in just a moment. Look up on your screen, and I'm going to show you the D minor chord and the E minor chord. The D minor chord and the E minor chord are made almost like the C chord. There's the E minor, and here's the D minor. So to make the D minor chord, we're going to hold down the D, the F, D, F, and the A. Play those 3 notes at the same time. That makes a D minor chord. You can play it as a block, like that, or arpeggiate. Let's go to E minor. Is E, G, and and B. And those are 2 chords that we're going to add to our chords today to make 6 basic chords in C major. So what we're going to do is the same thing I did before, but we're going to add all those new chords in. So I'm going to start on the right with C major, go to F major, G major, then go down to the next line, A minor, D minor, and E minor. And finally, I'm going to wind up back at C major. So we're going to do each chord for 8 beats or 8 counts. So starting on C. Get your fingers ready and I'll do a count for you. 1, 2, here we go. 3, 4, 5, 6. F major. 3, 4. G major. 2, 3, 4, 6. A minor. 7, 8. D minor. 5, 6, 7, 8. E minor. 5, 6, 7, 8. Back to C. And stop. So we just played through those 6 chords, but that is not really a song. It's not even really a progression. I guess you could call it kind of a progression, but it's not really interesting. To make it interesting, we have to practice some putting them in a certain order. And so what we're going to do, you're going to see a little chart pop up on your computer, and I'm going to show you a pattern of chords that has the D minor in it as well as the E minor maybe. So the first one I'm going to do is going to start with C major, and then it goes to E minor, then F major, and G major. So we're going to do 4 chords, C major, E minor, F major, G major, then back to C major. Listen to how it sounds when we add the E minor in. I'm going to give 8 beats to each chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. E minor. F major. Five, 6, 7, 8. Back to C. I love the sound of C major when it goes up to E minor. I love that, what's called a third, major third rise. That's so nice. That's a typical kind of pop progression, going from C major to E minor to F major. Here is another progression that's another very popular chord progression in the major, C major, or other major keys. We're going to go C major to D minor. Then from D minor, we're going to go to A minor and then G major. I think you're going to find this one interesting. So C major, D minor, A minor to G major. Let's listen to it and play along. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. D minor. 6, 7. A minor. And G major. Back to C. Nice. When you add the minor keys, it really does make it more interesting because the ear wasn't always expecting those changes. And that brings me up to our next thing about musical surprises. Something in the song, when you're writing a song, you want to create some unexpected events once in a while. Think of it like this. When you're writing a song, you're inviting your listener to join you on a journey. And once in a while, it's fun to have something unexpected, to have a surprise. You know, like at Christmas time, when you open up a present, it's like, oh, I got a surprise. So in music, it's kind of this. Look at your chart, and I think I'm going to play line number 2. Line number 2 in blue, you go C major, E minor, F major, G major. I'm going to do that line twice. But instead of going to C at the end, listen to what happens. Here goes. Number 2, I'm going to do it twice. 1, 2, here it goes. E minor. F major, back to C, and I'm just throwing in a little bit of the things in there to the G major. I'll tell you about that in a second. Here comes the surprise. At the end, I surprised you by going to A minor rather than going to C. And that wasn't a big surprise. It's what you would call, I guess you'd call it a gentle surprise. But right now, I'm going to do line number 2 again, only one time through this time, and I'm going to throw in a really special surprise at the end instead of going to C major. Listen carefully, and I'll show you what I'm doing in just a second. Starting at C major for 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's the E minor. Ah, that was interesting. What I did at the end, I went F, and then I went to G, and you expected it to end up on C, or maybe the A minor, like that. But what I did was I went to a whole different chord. I went to an A flat. So F, G, A flat, B flat, and then C. Now that's what I call a musical surprise or a harmonic surprise because your ear wasn't expecting that to happen. I'm not the first composer to ever use that, of course. That is a very popular kind of cadence, what we call a cadence, a surprise cadence in music, where you throw a little surprise at the end to surprise your listener. You don't want to do, there are some things in music that you don't want to do, and you don't want to make it such a surprise that it's like a shock to the system. If you're playing a song or making a song, you don't want to do something so unexpected that it's like throwing your passenger out the door. Okay, so if I'm playing a song, like, that was awful, right? I'm just trying to make up some chords that didn't quite go with it. So if you do something like that, you're kind of like, you're not really taking your listener on a ride, a fun ride. You're sort of throwing them out the door. And that's I call that. So when you throw a surprise in your song, you want to make it a kind of a surprise that sounds good and goes harmonically with the song. And A flat is one of those interesting little surprises that you can do, because the ear is expecting the C. But when you use the A flat, if you watch my hands on the keys, A flat has a C in it. It's the third of the A flat chord. And then when you go to B flat, C is like the ninth of the B flat chord. And then finally you resolve it with a C. That's called resolution. So when you throw a surprise in, you want a gentle surprise or you want a nice harmonic surprise. You don't want to throw in something that's jarring. What I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to put up on the screen, I'm going to put the 6 basic chords that are up there. If you take a look on your computer, you're going to see the 6 basic chords pop up. And I want to talk real quickly about the inversions. Now, when you see me play a C chord, it's C, E, G, C, E, G. That's called root position because the C is in the bass. But what if I moved my hand up like this? I have the E in the bass. I have E, G, and C. It's still a C major chord, but we call this the first inversion because the E is now in the bass. This is root position. This is first inversion. And then when I move the low note up to the G, like this, I have G, C, and E. This is still a C major chord, but this is second inversion. So let me do that again. This is root position, first inversion, and second inversion. Now take a look at the F major chord that I have on the chart. It's C, F, A, C, F. That is actually a second inversion F major chord. If it was root position, it would have the F in the bass, like this. There's the F, there's the A, there's the C. This is root position. So root position, first inversion, second inversion. Now there's a reason why we use these, and I'll get to those next time. But that's kind of a fun thing to practice. When you're making chords, like a C chord, do this. Watch my hands. Then switch to the F. Switch to the G. And the A minor. And you're just playing different inversions of the same chord. You can also do the same thing with D minor and E minor. So sometimes when you see my hands playing a song, you might see them spread out a little bit, and I might play different notes. Sometimes I'm playing the inversions. Like I might do this. Here's my E minor. This hand just suddenly jumped up to an inversion while my other hand stayed on the notes. Or I might drop down and do this. This is E minor. This is E minor. So is this. Now these are called power chords, by the way. When you just have the root of the chord and the fifth, along with the other notes in the right hand, that's a power chord. And that's another thing we'll talk about, the power chords and how to use those. Sometimes you want to use those, especially in pop music. Like it just gives your song a little more, it gives your harmony a little more punch to it. So some things to practice for next week. Practice your 6 basic chords in C major. So by next week, be ready to play those 6 chords, because I'm going to show you how to take those 6 chords in C major and how to add notes to them to turn them into some new chords. We'll talk about those, like adding the 6th and the 7th notes to them to make 6 chords and 7th chords. And then eventually I'm going to get into minor chords, how to make different chords in minor keys. All right, so those are some things we're going to work on in the future. And little tricks I'm going to show you in the future on things you can use in music to create more interest. Today I showed musical surprises, but the next time it might be something different. Have a great week. Please don't forget to hit like, share, and hit the little subscribe button and hit the ring the little bell so that you'll be notified when I put new videos out. This is Dave from Digital Doxology saying have a great week. Take care. Bye.